Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to another episode of the Force for Girls podcast. I'm Ricardo.
I'm Courtney. Hello. And today we're going to be recapping some good stuff. But we do want to touch on, if you missed last week, we talked about how to deal with fear. And that was a really good episode and kind of leads into exactly what we're talking about. Fear has a lot to do with certainty and uncertainty. And so we think this just needs a deeper dive. So, what are you thinking, Ricardo?
All right. Certainty and uncertainty. It's two of the six human needs, Courtney.
Hmm.
So, real quick, let's do a quick recap.
Okay.
Certainty, for those not familiar with the Tony Robbins six human needs, it's assurance that you can avoid pain and our favorite, gain pleasure. Uncertainty and variety. I like how variety is a softer word to uncertainty instead of like, ooh, they're just so uncertain. But it's
Yeah.
just some variety. The
Yeah.
need for the unknown, change, a new stimulus. You want to do something new. You need to shake things up a little bit. It's all natural because it's all part of uncertainty.
Hmm.
And then significance, one of our favorites.
Yes.
We're all special. We want to feel unique. We want to be important, and we want to feel needed, right?
Hmm.
And my favorite, connection and love. Mm. Does that even need an
I was
explanation?
about to say,
But
I like how you go into smooth jazz, like,
no, I mean, because we all want that feeling of closeness and union and be, with someone or something or a community, a tribe. We want
mhm,
that connection. We all
yeah,
want connection. That's something we all crave.
absolutely.
And the
And
last two,
the last two are the needs of the spirit. So you have growth, which is an expansion. It's broadening your capability, broadening your understanding of life. If you're not growing, you're dying, right? And then you have contribution, which we all have a need we need to fulfill. We want to feel like we're contributing. We want to provide a sense of service to the world. Like we came and we made a difference. So if the top four that you just listed, we will find a way to meet either way. These last two, growth and contribution, if you're not meeting them, you're probably not happy.
mm,
That's a pretty simple way to sum it up.
yeah. And I'll post a link down below on in the podcast description to the Tony Robbins official page on the Six Human Needs.
Hmm.
So make sure you look out for that for more information and videos on the six human needs.
Yes. So we're diving deeper into certainty and uncertainty. Okay, the top two reasons for conflict. So it goes with our theme of the month, right? But the difference for me on like certainty for me means security, safety, predictability, whereas uncertainty means like a healthy unknowing. It means this urge for adventure or this urge that maybe there's something I'm supposed to learn on the other side of this, so I should give it a go. But what do you think?
I like how you said predictable because you're right. Like that uncertainty is definitely predictable. It's comfortable. You're
Mhm.
like, okay, I know I've watched Forrest Gump hundreds of times. I know how it's going to end. So it gives me a sense of uncertainty. We all know when we watch Titanic that the ship is going to sink. No spoiler alert here.
Yeah, but we sit
Eh,
there for 4 hours like,
but
"Oh,
yeah, when we sit
Leo."
there for 3 hours and then we know Leo's gonna fall down to the depths of the sea, and it still gets us all every single time, but we still crave that certainty. And uncertainty is just that surprise. Like you're not really sure. Is it gonna happen? Is it not gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Is it gonna work out? Is it not gonna work out? Like that unsureness, but it's also exciting. Like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen here. What's gonna happen there? I don't know.
That's a good point. Okay, so what comes first?
Whew. All right. So for me, like in the real deal live situation, like not movies, for me, when I'm working on a new project, when I'm working towards a new goal, uncertainty. Because there's that hesitation and that fear. I talked about it last week. You can go back to the how I deal with fear episode. But the moment that there's that hesitation, I know that that's fear slash uncertainty about whatever it is that I'm working on.
Mhm.
And the more I focus on it, the more I give it attention, the more I think about what could go wrong, that uncertainty and that fear just start getting all wacky. And then it's like, ooh, I'm really not sure, which
Yeah.
is another form of.
Yeah, exactly.
uncertainty. And so it's like, ooh, yeah, I just don't know. How is this gonna look? Will this even work or whatever, you know? But what I've learned for myself is that once I get going, then it starts to flip into certainty. Like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm feeling good here. I'm pretty certain I know how to do this. I'm pretty certain we figured it out. I'm pretty certain that this is going to not just be good, but great.
Amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then after a few times, the uncertainty is less, 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 and then the certainty starts more and more and more, and then eventually you just start with uncertainty.
I think it depends what stage in life you're at because
Ooh,
I've been on I think I'm dramatically learning the other side of this, but if I wasn't certain on something, if I wasn't certain how it would turn out or certain that you can't start a project and know it's going to work out for sure, right? That's part of the journey. So, but I gave up a lot of opportunity, lost a lot of time, to put it bluntly, because I focused on certainty being first and having to build that certainty. What I've learned is naturally uncertainty comes first, right? And so then I have to just sit with it and decide, is this something I want to do? Is this something I want, follow that the feedback. If you haven't heard us say the feedback, that's not necessarily saying what people are talking about you. That's saying that feeling inside when you are uncertain or certain, those are both feedback moments, so take the feedback and there's probably something beautiful on the other side or probably something I can grow from. So I embrace uncertainty now. And I mean, granted, I'm learning more too every day, but it's interesting to watch the flip happen when you really dive deep into self-analysis on this.
all right. Let me ask you, Courtney. I want to go a little bit deeper here. Take me into the brain of Courtney. I'm
Okay.
not even going to go 5 years ago. Let's just go 6 months ago.
Okay.
Courtney 6 months ago, because there's been a lot of changes.
Yeah.
So, like, tell me, take me back to Courtney 6 months ago on your pattern of uncertainty and certainty.
Certainly uncertain. How about that? Because so I really started kind of charging at things that scared me. And I mean, I've always
Yeah,
liked
I
to
don't want
do
to
that,
talk about. I don't want to
but
talk
do
about new Courtney. I don't want to talk about new Courtney. I
yeah,
want to talk
just
about old Courtney.
okay. Yeah. So I had to okay, so my pattern, yeah, I just realized that focusing on certainty and thriving for certainty wasn't working for me. I'm not saying it doesn't exist and it's not important. Not
Correct.
saying that. But it's you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like that's the ticket to success. I can't tell you your exact formula for whatever industry you're in or whatever, but I can tell you if you get better at being uncomfortable, like the world opens up and you meet a new version inside of yourself every day you do it. But yeah, so my pattern was if it's not safe, I'm not going to do it. Well, what do they say? A ship is safe in the harbor, but that's not what a ship is meant for. So
And I
here
will
I am.
say this, Courtney. I will say this. You have embraced uncertainty with it after, like I said, 6 months. I could even go 3 months,
Yeah.
really, and still be in the same place. But recently, you have really embraced uncertainty.
Hmm.
And what has that shifted for you in that since you went from that one place where you were to now where you're
Everything. Like, I feel like I've shed all my layers. Like, I can make a butterfly in a cocoon example right now, but it's just like I shed a lot of stuff that I was thriving on certainty or thriving on this. And those things were never going to become certain. Let's just say that, because they weren't meant for me. So it makes me very certain in myself. And so with that, I can do anything, even if it makes me uncertain. I can try anything. I might not succeed at everything I try, but why not give it a go? I always joke, try everything twice. First time might have been a really bad example. So, and then make the decision based off what I want because I know who I am. And
mm,
I just never had the guts to kind of shed everything and really look at myself in the mirror in those ways that I have in
mm,
recent times.
that's so good.
So, yeah, let's see. What's your pattern with certainty and uncertainty? You
For
can pick
me,
now or you can pick 5 years ago, Ricardo.
it hasn't changed. I just I've just learned how to deal with it.
Hmm.
Oh, excuse me. I've just become significantly more resourceful
Mm,
in this area because it's not going to go away, right? It's not going to go away. It's not going to be like this whole thing that we're going to eliminate uncertainty from our lives forever and ever and ever, right? That's unreasonable. And everything we're going to eliminate certainty because we don't ever want to feel comfortable. Well, that's not possible either. So I've just become more resourceful in flipping the switch from uncertainty to certainty and getting comfortable with that uncertainty.
So it
And
sounds like it's made you a lot better.
it has. It has. And what, man, that's a great question.
Yeah.
What's made me better here is creating that skill of dealing with it, because there have been times where that uncertainty was crippling. And I would just be like, oh, well, I don't know. Should I do this? Should I do that? Over silly little things, like I can go back even a couple of years ago where I didn't know if I should buy the hardcover copy of a book or the softcover copy of the book. Like, yeah, but the hardcover is like $10 more, but it's hardcover. It's gonna last forever. But I'll get the latest version on the softcover book, and then, but what, like all these things. It sounds silly, right? But that's what we do.
Do
That's
it
what I
every
did.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we do every day. Like, we make these decisions and you're not really sure. And some decisions are super small, some decisions are super big.
Hmm.
So, how do you deal with it, Courtney?
I think you got to sit with yourself. As cheesy as that sounds, you need to kind of put yourself in timeout and understand either why am I feeling so drawn to be certain and control, like, the hands around the neck of whatever your outcome you want is, or why does this make me scared? Why is this bringing up a lot of feelings of uncertainty? So I just think you need to sit with it and really ask yourself the honest questions. The kicker is you got to be honest with yourself. No fluff, no excuses, no anything. It's just you talking to you. So shut it and tell the truth. And so I don't mean that in a harsh way. I just mean that, like, I was one who didn't really understand where I was coming from on a lot of things because I was putting the weight of all that outside of me. And, I always knew if I were to go inward.
I think you said the magic word there, Courtney. You really said the magic word. Do you know what it was? Do you even
What was
realize
that?
that you said it?
And I don't. Which one was
The
that?
one magic word on how to deal with uncertainty is why.
Mhm.
Like, why? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I making such a big deal about this? Because that's what we do, right? We make a big deal. But
Mhm.
just questioning it and asking, well, why?
Yeah.
Like, why?
That's a giant one.
That's a huge
It's
one. Three little letters and a punctuation mark.
and it's so simple, we just forget that question and go on about our lives, and 30 years later, we've been doing something, we still don't know why,
Yeah.
you know?
Like, so if I ask myself why, even why one of the simple ones, like I was telling you about hardcover versus softcover, why is that making me feel uncertain, or why is that a dilemma, is because, do I want to spend the extra money now or do I want to spend the extra money later?
Yeah.
Because I know that if I'm going to like the book, it's going to go what, hardcover.
Mhm.
And so it's like, but what if I don't like it? Do I really want to invest in a hardcover copy of a book that I may not like?
Yeah.
That's why. And I think I'm poking at it, but this is also a perfect example for us not to feel bad or feel shameful about it,
Mhm.
because it happens. There's no
Yeah.
shame. It's just the reality of what it is. And we do this with small or big things. And yes, I'm making fun of myself because it's a point. It's reasonable. It's logical to us and it makes sense to us in
Mhm.
our own head.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it makes sense to anybody else as long as it makes sense to us.
Yeah.
So,
I
what
think
about
just
you?
knowing how you deal with it. Yeah, okay, so with certainty.
What's your why? Tell me,
Okay,
answer a why for me.
a why as far as,
Uncertainty. Take
just I want to learn
Okay.
the
Oh, you know what?
okay,
Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up.
okay.
Give me a situation, silly or not silly, where you felt uncertain.
Moving to Colorado.
Ooh.
Picking up and moving a
Oh,
week
this is
after
so
I made the
good.
decision. I was on the road 1 week after I made the decision, which
Oh,
that
this is gonna
alone
be
was
so
like,
juicy.
it just, and the second the decision was made, there was no turning back. Like, it was like there was no other option in my brain. So there was so much certainty with it, but it was coming from this core place that I almost didn't recognize. Or it's like, am I being called? Okay, like, all right, here I come. And so it's been an uncertain journey in the last few weeks since then. Actually, I've been here a month, and it's
Uh,
just crazy to actually, okay, 3 days early in a month, but almost. And
Almost.
it's just every day, everything's uncertain, like the weather's different. The thing I just there's so many little details of the day, but I'm working towards building that certainty in me, so I have more trust in me after taking that step. I have more faith in me. And so it's just one of those big lessons in my life that, okay, next time I'm unsure on what to do or to make a big jump or a little jump, I'll be like, you know what, but you'll be with you and you trust you. So,
Yeah.
which is something we worked on for years with me, right?
Yeah.
That was
So
a
looking back now, almost a month and 3 days. In 3 days, it will be a month. So
yes.
looking back at it now, why were you uncertain about the move?
I'd never moved like this before. I'd never left Texas. I never wanted to leave Texas. Like, I wanted to travel and go do fun things, but Texas was my home. And so it was just this like, wait a minute, I'm going to make somewhere else my home. What? Like, back to the drawing board. And so, but I did it for the uncertainty. I did it for the lesson in the uncertainty. So I can sit here and talk about being certain and making the decision and knowing it was no, I did it
Nah.
for the lesson behind the uncertainty in my gut.
Oh, I like how, you know, I think one of the key factors of that uncertainty comes in, it comes when you've never done it before. When you've never
That's a
done
great point.
something, when you've never done it. You killed it right there when you just mentioned that, because even some uncertainty comes when I was trying to pick a hosting platform for an online course. Like,
Mhm.
which one do I go to? There's like 15 of them. So I'm reading reviews, I'm asking people, I'm talking to people, I'm doing the free trial because I don't know which one is easier, which one is the pricing, like all these things, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because I've never done it before.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, so I can just imagine how that move was for you because you have never
Done it
done
before.
it before.
And now if I'm like, "Oh, I wanna pick up and go," like, what if I wanna go live in Nashville for I don't know. I'll have that faith in myself to actually, like, make an honest decision and a quicker decision. I mean,
Wait
granted
a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, Courtney. Hold up
back
before you
up.
go there.
Beep,
Back it
beep,
up. Are you
beep.
trying to tell me that once you do something once, it gets easier the more that you do it?
Yes.
What?
Took me a while to learn that one.
No way. No, Courtney. No. You're yanking
Even
my
if you
leg.
fall on your face, y'all, even if you completely fail, uh, it's gonna be easier the next time.
What?
Period. Period. Try everything twice.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I am positive.
All
Well, how
right.
has
Well,
this affected your life? Let's talk
that sounds like some solid advice. Okay, ask me again. I'm sorry. I
okay,
wasn't
well,
paying
how
attention.
has that lesson and just doing something, just practicing it or just trying it once, how has that made it easier in the rest of your life?
I'm gonna throw a word in here. There's gonna be a third word, a
Okay.
third C word, comfort.
Mm,
I start, and what I'm hearing in your voice too is I'm realizing it in myself, right? Is listening to you and thinking about how I deal with uncertainty. I'm starting to get more comfortable with the uncertainty. Now, when you go visit the website on Tony Robbins, there's a test there, there's some resources there. And one of the theories behind the six human needs is that the highest one is your preference. So someone who has a high level of uncertainty, moving wouldn't be a big deal. They'd be like, all
right,
right, cool, let's go.
right.
Picking a course, picking a hard book or a soft cover book, well, whatever. I don't care. It's
It
just a
ain't
book.
nothing. Yeah.
No big deal. I live for this stuff. I live for the uncertainty. I live for the surprise. I live for the unknown.
Mhm,
Versus someone who's a little bit more certainty based or a lot more certainty based, like myself. I wanted that assurance and that security. And
mhm,
to say that that uncertainty will be at the top of my list, it's not going to happen. I just know that's just
mhm,
not who I am. That's not how I'm wired, and that's okay because it's not wrong. However, I am learning even still on a daily basis how to deal with that uncertainty, how
mhm,
to deal when something comes up, how to handle it better, how to be more resourceful in these situations. Um, will higher levels of uncertainty, like a move, require a little bit more finesse? Yeah. You
mhm.
can't really compare the move to Colorado from Texas to hardcover or softcover. But
Yeah.
again,
But
like
it's practicing how you deal with it in the moments, right? It's practicing to understand, why is this certainty popping up or why is this uncertainty popping up?
correct. And my goal is not to totally eliminate uncertainty and say, Courtney, we're gonna start really working on this, and we're never, ever, ever gonna feel uncertain again.
That's not gonna
Eh,
happen.
I mean, honestly, let me just ask you this real quick. Would
Okay.
that be any fun?
No. No.
No.
I do not
Eh,
want the same thing over and over. I do not
correct.
wanna know, although I did say that the reason my pattern for certainty is predictability, like, that's what I like to
That
know
is the
kind of
key word.
probably what will happen, but if I knew everything that would happen, like, no thanks, like, I need some more adventure in my life, like, next.
Ah, so you're trying to tell me that this is one of those things that sounds good in theory,
Yeah.
but in reality,
If
eh,
you actually practice it, might be a little bit more
it
mundane than you thought.
might be a little, yeah, we like the idea of it, but the practice of it may not necessarily be that great.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, my goal is just to get comfortable with it. Get
Mhm.
comfortable with uncertainty, get comfortable with fear, get comfortable with the negative emotions. That doesn't mean that I dwell in them or live there or
Mhm.
let them hinder me, but just get comfortable with it so I can still do what I got to do.
Yeah. Like, one example of that for me would be, okay, if I'm nervous about something, nerves and excitement in your body are almost the exact same
It,
reaction. Scientifically, I think there's one or two differences, but I mean, overall, like racing heartbeat, sweaty palms, like you're like, oh, it's just your body's like the juices are flowing. You can feel everything, right? Like that. So's that excitement. That's the same thing that excitement causes, that being so wildly happy for something coming up is going to cause in your body. So I'm still not perfect at it, but, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm nervous," like, "Huh," and I'll be real with myself, okay, and just look at the eye, and I'll be like, "Wow, that must mean I'm really excited about this thing. That must mean I really like this thing that I'm gonna go do?" And so I'm getting more comfortable telling myself I'm not nervous, I'm excited. Is that ever gonna be a moment where I will never get nervous again? No, I'm human. Like, I don't have children right now. I can't even imagine having kids, like those nerves, things like that. It's just every stage and level of your life is going to teach you new lessons in these categories. So it's not about mastering them so they go away forever. It's just about mastering what formula works for you, and
ooh,
really
formula.
understanding how it's affected your life. And it just I don't want certainty to end up in my top 2 anymore. I'm tired of seeing that end up in the top 2 whenever I do that exercise again. I'm like, "Damn it, it's significance and certainty again," and
Because that,
that's just not leading me to a fulfilled life that I've been happy with.
yeah, when certainty is like up there, it's crippling because everything has to be very specific and predictable.
I have
Yeah.
a okay, so, well, I wanna ask you 2 questions. So I'll go, which one is, like, I guess that's different for all of us, so I'll switch to which one comes first typically? Like, which one is it? Walk me through, like, a new situation, like, make up something that you're about to do. Like, do you have a feeling of like, "Oh, I know this'll work," or, "Oh, this makes me scared?"
It depends. If I've done that before, I know it's gonna work. If I've even done something similar, I feel very confident that it's gonna work. If it's something totally new and something totally different that I believe in it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I am 100% invested. I
Mhm,
believe in it enough to research it and do the due diligence, but maybe I'm not 100% sure that it's going to take off the way that I think, but I just kind of go for it.
mhm,
Versus when I'm like, "Ooh, yeah, that sounds pretty good." Even that's the language and the tone.
mhm,
That sounds pretty good. Maybe it'll work. Let me look up some more information. Oh, you know what? Okay, I like that. Okay.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good point.
And
You
I
know
think if
what?
you're
Jesse
struggling.
Courtney, whoever I'm
Yeah.
talking to, Jesse Courtney, man, you know what? That's an excellent point. And you see how the language starts changing.
Mhm.
Wow, that is a great idea, Jesse. Like, okay, I could get behind that.
Yeah. And I think while you're talking, okay, so one thing that I'm gonna definitely start trying when I'm struggling with either uncertainty or certainty is just infuse it with those last 2 human needs, so growth and contribution. If you
Ooh.
bring something outside of yourself into it. Like, okay, even if I fail, if I contributed to the world, if I helped one person, I don't care what you think of me, you know? So I've had to learn that because I've practiced adding growth and contribution into whatever I'm doing. There was a time where I cared what every single one of you thought of me, you know? And it paralyzed me. Chicken head. So, but basically, if you are whatever side of the spectrum you're on, whether you start with certainty or uncertainty, just add in some growth or contribution. Okay, it might be scary. You might be highly uncertain, but are you going to grow from this? You know,
Mm,
that makes it more compelling. Or if you're completely certain on something, but if you're like, okay, well, if I switch it up, that's contributing to something, that's giving, that's, you know, sharing value to this person that I think I can help because I've been here before and they haven't, you know, it's little things like that. So just infuse some growth and contribution into those wherever you are struggling on any of the other human needs, because that it just makes it more fulfilling. And if you can make it more fulfilling for yourself, there'll be purpose behind it, and then you can understand why and what difference it means to you. So, yeah.
that's powerful. And I want to circle back around to one thing that you said earlier is that awareness is the key. That's been the running theme here is that you have to be aware of what's going on, what you're doing, your pattern, and don't get stuck in the perfection loop.
Mhm.
You don't have to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. Just the fact that you're aware of it, that it's happening, or that it just happened, that's a huge win. Take that win and run and celebrate it. Be like, oh yeah, I was aware that I was feeling a certain some sort of way about this situation,
Yeah.
and through that awareness, it'll get easier. But again, don't get stuck in that perfection loop because
Can I
that'll
add 2
just
things that you've told me that okay, so 1, you told me once upon a time, "Courtney, stop it. Nobody's expecting you to be perfect except for yourself."
that is
That
true.
hit home. And then you said that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a perfect polished message to still provide value. So I
Mm.
don't know who that could help right now, and I don't know what you might be holding back on, but those are 2 lines that he's told me that have just really stuck with me over the last few years.
Man, I'm just so chock full of wisdom.
You are. You
Look,
practice it a lot, so
I don't
hey,
know if y'all can hear
good
this, but
predictability.
I'm giving myself a pat on the back because I'm just so chock full of wisdom.
Oh, well, y'all, so this can I okay, Ricardo, don't listen. So y'all see the confidence that you build when you contribute and you grow constantly? So how does he know all this wisdom? He has been on a growth journey for what, 20, 25 years at least, focused on actively personal development and whatever strikes your fancy. And then look at the confidence he has and look at the wisdom he has to share. So it growth and contribution, man, like just it'll make the others and everything else in your life easier, but it'll just start to bring the meaning in. And that's maybe why we're all stuck is because we're like, what is the meaning behind this? What's my purpose? You don't
I
have to know. Get out
You
there
know,
and play around and find out.
and figure it out. It'll come to you. I
Yeah.
will say this, Courtney. I'll leave with this joke here: is my words coming out of your mouth sound better than they do when I say them.
I'll
But
allow that one. That's funny.
but I mean, I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. That they
Yeah.
sound better when someone else is like, "Wow, that was really what I actually said." That let me make sure I
That
write
was
that down
good.
because I don't remember saying that. So there's that. All
Very
right,
good.
Courtney.
Yeah.
Final thoughts.
Just I don't know. I'm feeling all lovey-dovey right now because I guess I haven't analyzed. I think we should analyze this every month. I think you should sit your ass down and journal what you're doing with each of the 6 human needs in your life. Because reminder, which we're not going to go into it or make a subject on it. So research this on your own. But you have negative, positive, and neutral ways to meet every single human need. And if you don't look at how you're negatively meeting them, you know, or how you're neutrally meeting them, meaning they're not bringing you any fulfillment, they're just kind of there. And just I just draw, I literally draw like a pattern or a little 6 chart and just write down, you know, all the needs and then kind of what am I doing in my work life? What am I doing in my home life? What am I doing? Blah, 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 blah. And just break it down because it's eye opening. Because even those of us who've been to multiple Tony Robbins seminars, man, you'll get there and you're like, certainty and significance are my top 2 again, you know. So just check in with yourself and just develop a little practice so you keep yourself in check and keep yourself growing because that's the thing. You're going
Yeah,
backwards if you're not growing.
I
What are
will
your final
say.
thoughts?
Oh, um, it's all about the difference that makes a difference. And figuring out and learning how to deal with certainty and uncertainty is definitely one of those aspects that can make a huge difference in your life,
Mhm.
because we all feel it. We're all going to feel it. We may not even
Yeah.
necessarily want to eliminate it. We just want to be able to cope with it, right? And that's really what it is to be able to deal with it and feel confident and comfortable in this space when it happens.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that's the key. Not to eliminate it, because that's such a big thing to think, oh, I'm never going to feel this again or
That's
feel that again.
impossible. That's impossible.
Yeah. But can I get comfortable in this space? Yeah, I can do that.
That's
Can I
highly
get, yeah, can I get more comfortable the more that I practice it? Yeah, I can do that too.
yeah.
So,
I like this one. This was a good chat. Thank you for this.
yeah, this was good.
Yes.
All right,
Well,
guys.
thank you for tuning in, everybody. By the way, if you've missed any episodes, visit forceforgrowth.com to catch them on all your favorite platforms, including Audible. So, just a reminder, if you have never done Audible, go get your 2 free books with code Force for Growth. But yeah, all the goodies, all the platforms are on the forceforgrowth.com website. We'd love for you to check it out and leave us some feedback, by the way. We love
Ooh,
feedback. So, honesty is king. Let us know what you think. Let us know if it's providing value or not. And yeah, what else? Let's see.
let us know what you think. Like and share. Make sure
Yes.
you like and share the podcast. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and all of the podcasting channels simultaneously. So if you're just now catching the tail end of this live, go to forceforgrowth.com and you can hear the full episode from the beginning
Yeah.
in your car, on your way to work, whatever that may
On
be,
whatever your favorite app is.
or whatever your favorite app may be. And what are we going to be talking about next week, Courtney?
Oh, next week we're going to be talking about conflict,
Ooh,
which are so the needs we talked about today are the top two causes of conflict, pretty much certainty and uncertainty. So we're going to dive deep, and I'm excited about that chat.
conflict. So make sure you tune in next week and always remember to be a force for good
A force for growth.
and a force for greatness.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.